Okay, so we are live. And I know there was a video just the other day where I was saying, I don't do videos on Saturday that often. I do a video on Saturday if I have something I really, really want to open. And I just happened to get this from Walmart today. Coincidentally enough, I got another package also from Big Bad Toy Store. That was something I ordered like over a week ago, and the Walmart thing just showed up the next day. So I didn't mean for all that stuff to show up at the same time, but it sure did. And I've got a few other things here that going to be opening some of these throughout the next week. And there goes the stupid pop-up. God, get out of my way. Trying to do a show here. All right, so I decided to go ahead and get these New Adventures of Batman figures because I thought they were really cool. And then I was realizing when, I got Batman and Robin. And while I was on the Big Bad Toy Store website, I happened to see Two-Face. And that made me think how, like, this was a line I'd, wanted to collect and just somehow just fell through the cracks. Maybe I was too busy with, G.I. Joe or something like that. So really the only one that I bought and opened was this Adam West Batman right here. So I got him and never got around to getting any of the other figures. Like, I'd intended to get the Robin and Joker figures that came in that first wave, but it seemed like I could never find them when I had the money for them. And the one time that I saw the Joker when I had the money for it, it was one that had like a mark on his nose or something like that, and I didn't want that one. So never was able to get those, unfortunately. Now, my friend Rudy, who lives in California, he was able to grab me some on clearance. So he was able to get me Eartha Kitt, Catwoman, and what's the wrong one? Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze. Not the governor of California at the time, but this is Otto Preminger. And where is the third one that I had that he sent me? There she is. Julie Newmar as Catwoman. So I never got around to opening these because, like I said, the only one that I had was the Adam West Batman. So it would have been an odd display just to have the two Catwomans and Mr. Freeze and Adam West. So I decided to save those for later, and eventually I knew I was going to revisit this line and get the figures that I missed. And the thing that finally lit a fire under me on it, they've had a few waves since then, was seeing these New Adventures of Batman figures, which I thought looked pretty cool and really wanted to have them. So and then since I had Two-Face, I was like, you know what, I should probably go ahead and start getting the rest of these. So that was what I started doing. And like I said, didn't have Robin, didn't have the Joker. Now the good news is that, like, some of these figures are still pretty affordable. Some of them are a little more on the expensive side. So I've got a few on the way. But when I saw this on the Walmart website, because I was just looking online just to see what I could get, what kind of prices I could get for various figures. And on the Walmart website, I happened to see this that was still selling at retail price. Now, this was a New York Comic-Con exclusive. And let's see, does it have the date on here? Okay, DC Comics. Yeah, I think it was 2022. Yeah, 2022 that this came out. So it's been a couple of years since this came out. And I was hoping, maybe I'd look on, like, Amazon and some places trying to see if I could find this for a decent price, because this was a piece that I always really wanted. There's the back. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. And both sides of the lunchbox have the same image. This is from the Topps trading cards that they put out around the time that the TV series was on the air. That's a piece. I had looked up their name on my phone, so I've got that handy. I want to make sure I get their name right. And it was, they did a lot of work for Topps at the time. Pulp Fiction artist Norm Saunders and comic artist Bob Powell. Now, these gentlemen were the fellows who were responsible for the Mars Attacks trading card line. So it's kind of funny. There's a little bit of a Tim Burton connection there. They both worked on trading cards that wound up becoming Tim Burton movies later on. Of course, the Tim Burton movie Mars Attacks was based off the trading cards, and this was just based off of the comic book and the TV show after a fashion. So, but I think there's more of the comic book on here. But you can definitely see some of the influence of the television show on there. The Batmobile looks somewhat like that Batmobile, and Batman's got the pouch kind of utility belt and the eyebrows painted on his cowl like Adam West had. It's Sean Franklin again. Hello, Sean Franklin. Do you like Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, and Chris Evans, Captain America? That is a resounding yes to both. I love both of those guys. I think both of those turned out to be excellent castings. I was really excited when Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Iron Man because I was a big fan of his from movies in the 80s. And of course, he had some personal issues that, caused his career to get kind of derailed for a little bit there. But he started to get it back on track in the late 90s. And I was rooting for the guy. He was going through a period where he was doing a lot of small parts in big movies and big parts in small movies. And then he got the role of Iron Man. And I was like, he's going to be awesome. I could not think of a better guy to play Tony Stark. So I was excited about that. Chris Evans, I thought he was a good actor, and I thought he was a good choice to play Captain America, except for one thing, is that he had been in the Fantastic Four movie, and he played the Human Torch. And I was really worried that, because I liked him so much as the Human Torch, I was really worried that I might have a hard time seeing him as Captain America just because I might see him as Johnny Storm the whole time. But no, actually the opposite happened. I loved him so much as Captain America. Now I have a hard time watching those movies and accepting him as Johnny Storm. But I thought he was actually really good in both parts. So yeah, so we got the painting on the front here, and on the back it's the same painting. And then on the side, got some orange trim with the Batman television series logo and various onomatopoeia. Plain orange on the side and on the top, and we have a bright blue handle. So I guess you could technically put your lunch in this. And it's got a little latch at the top. We open the latch up, and here are our figures. And we can see some of the trading cards in here that I'd already discussed. Unfortunately, even though they reproduce the front, they do not reproduce the back. They just kind of have this decoration on there, almost like it's a playing card. They did the same thing with the trading cards that they reproduced the original Batman trading cards in the Blu-ray set, where it was an even more bland background. It just looks like a black and white image of the Batman TV series logo printed onto the back of the package. But I'm actually kind of glad these don't have anything on the back, because now I don't have to take them out of the box really to look at the backs, because the backs aren't really worth looking at. But we will come back and discuss these trading card images as we talk about the figures some, because the figures are, in theory, supposed to be made to look like the trading cards, but we'll see. We'll see. So they're in these little, vacuum-formed plastic inserts. These are the same type of inserts that, we have inside action figure packages, but they're kind of overlaid on each other. We have Batman and the Joker in one insert, and Penguin and Robin in the other insert. So I guess they decided these guys both have bird names, put them both together. I don't know. Although Robin wasn't actually originally named after the bird. He was actually originally named after Robin Hood, but some of y'all aren't ready to have that conversation. So, okay, let's go ahead and get the accessories out, such as they are. And it is the onomatopoeia, and these can clip onto our character's wrists. And we see Batman has one that says BAM. And we see the Joker has one that says kapow. So we'll set those aside. And you could really use those for any characters. I'm just, designating them to the character that they're next to. I mean, technically, the BAM was in between both Batman and the Joker, but the Joker had his own kapow over next to it. And I'm not giving the Joker both of the automatopoeia. So, like I said, Joker was one that I missed out on in the initial run. And here is what the Joker looks like in this set. And you can see that it is an excellent likeness of Cesar Romero. It does not seem to have the mustache sculpted in, unfortunately. And he's got a little mark on his nose. Why can't I get a Joker that doesn't have a little mark on his nose? Maybe I can get it to scrape off. If not, maybe I can paint over it later. But fairly detailed face sculpt. I don't know if it's going to come through because the white tends to wash out. So this is not, again, colored like the television series of Batman. If you remember the Joker's outfit on the television series, it was not like a true purple like this. It was more of a magenta color, fuchsia, hot pink, whatever you want to call it, but not really a true purple. So the tail of his coat is really thick and very rigid. So no jokes. But yeah, usually I'm used to these coats being a bit more rubbery than this, but this one's got some rigidity to it. So let's have a look at his articulation. So the head rotates all the way around, can tilt slightly quizzically to the left and right. You can look up about that far and look down about that far. So not a great range of motion on the head, but decent enough, you know. These are not quite as well articulated as the regular Mcfarlane figures, but I feel like they've got enough articulation. Also, the ones that Mattel put out a few years back, I think had better articulation than these, but these are better sculpts, I think. So arm rotates all the way around, although this joint is a bit stiff. And it moves up about that far. That's a great range of motion there. Goes down about that far. He's got elbow articulation, just a single elbow joint that goes up and down that way. And then also rotates all the way around. So he does have like some good range of motion at the elbows, and you can get him into some interesting poses that way. He does not appear to turn at the waist. Could be wrong about that. It could just be sticking. Nope, there it goes. It's going. It's just a tight joint. Leg goes up about that far, so pretty good range of articulation as far as the leg goes. Looks like it could probably go all the way back if not for the tails on the coat. So that's nice. Does not do the splits. This is just old school, up and down action figure joint here. So that's pretty simple. And he does have a single bend at the knee. Does not go all the way back, but it does rotate somewhat. Technically, I guess it rotates all the way around, but because of the way his knee is set up, it doesn't necessarily go all the way around. No ankle articulation, no toe articulation. This is pretty basic as far as like a Mcfarlane figure goes. And like I said, the paint job is not accurate to the Batman television show. The Joker had much brighter green hair than this. This is like the green highlight they have on there. Really, that's about how all the hair should look. It should all be that kind of bright green color. But this one has like a green highlight, kind of dry brushed over some black hair. And I think it looks really good. It's not, like I said, accurate to how the Joker appeared on the television show at all. But it's not really supposed to be. It's supposed to be accurate to what he looked like on the Topps trading cards. So what kind of a job does it do with that? Well, we look at it here. The Joker seems to be wearing a dark purple suit, at least on that picture. And he is indeed wearing a dark purple suit. But he also has a white shirt. And you can see that, like, he's got flesh-colored ears. Just an odd decision. Now, thankfully, Mcfarlane did not do this. He's just got white skin all around. Oh, he does have wrist articulation. I forgot to mention that. So you can turn his wrists all the way around. So there we go. He's got one open hand that, maybe could hold something, but it doesn't look like it's too tight of a grip. And then he's got one closed fist. So So yeah, but this is pretty par for course for the articulation on these figures. So I doubt I'm going to go over all the articulation on all these figures because I just went over the articulation on the Joker, and it's all going to be pretty much like that. So unless I notice any kind of difference, we're just going to skip over that for now. So let's move on to Batman. I mainly just grabbed the Joker out of convenience's sake. I could have started with Batman. So again, articulation on him. Arms rotate all the way around. Go up about that far. Got the elbow, single joint. Elbow rotates. He's got rotating wrists. Legs go up about that far. So pretty darn far. Legs go back about that far. Got the knees that have a single bend and then kind of rotate that way. Technically rotate all the way around. And then he's got torso waist articulation. So you can turn the torso. Now the ironic thing is, like, if we look at the trading card of Batman, I think that actually the colors are more closer to this on the one that was actually made for the TV show. I think it's a slightly brighter blue. Whereas this blue is a bit darker. And to me, this blue looks more like what the blue looked like on the television series, where it was that really dark kind of blue. Neither one of them really have the metallic sheen that Batman's suit is supposed to have because of the satiny sort of quality. And also you can see like this fin on this glove, the very end of the glove there, that one, the fins got kind of bent up a little bit. But I think that's okay because the fins kind of got bent up on the show. And, you can straighten over here to right anyway. Batman does have an extra point of articulation where his glove meets the forearm. So there's a rotation there and a rotation at the wrist. So you can pose those however you like. Most companies would just put either a cut at where the glove meets the sleeve or a wrist articulation. But Mcfarlane did both, and I think that's good because then I can just kind of pose the hand whichever way I want to versus where the fins go. The gray on here looks almost identical, but not quite. It's just a little bit off. The yellow looks pretty much the same. The gold on the belt buckle looks pretty much the same. They both have the same 1966 style Batman emblem tampographed on the chest. And like I said, the blue on TV Batman is much brighter than the darker blue on the trading card Batman. Although, like I said, I think that this is actually closer to what he looked like on the television show, at least as far as I remember, with like the really dark blue. And this one's a little more sort of like almost like a Jim Lee kind of blue. How they usually colored Batman in the Hush series. So I'm going to set Batman aside. Batman's pretty cool. I'm happy with this Batman. Oh, and I forgot to mention the other big difference between how this version of Batman is you can see that they painted in his eyes solid white, whereas the regular TV Batman has, pupils and eyelashes and whites of the eyes and all that kind of stuff. A little bit of flesh color around the eyes. But this one, they just painted in the eyes solid white, like comic book style. Again, like how he looked on the trading card. The capes do seem to be about the same color of blue. And it matches up better with the trading card version than it does with the TV show version. So we'll try to set those there. Hopefully they won't fall over. There we go. And we will move on to the next figures in the set. And a little inserts kind of crack right there, but I guess that sort of thing's going to happen. It got cracked up here too. It's all kinds of crack. So Robin comes with an automatopoeia that says "Wham" on it because he's a big fan of 80s pop music. Holy Careless Whisper. And then pow. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and get Robin out of here. And this insert is just continuing to shatter. So there we got Robin out of the package. Now, like I said, I don't have the first issue of Robin that's supposed to be more like the television show version, but I've seen enough pictures of him in comparison to this version of Robin to say that I think the coloring is actually more accurate on this one. I seem to remember Robin as having a much darker green in the way that this is done. So in this, it seems to be kind of tight. And he has the same thing as Batman, where he has the articulation at the where the glove meets his arm, and also the wrist articulation, so you can pose his hands in any which way you want to. And then it's really tight. It does seem to want to go all the way around, but he does technically have an articulation at the waist. Leg only goes up about that far because it hits the hem of his jerkin, whatever you want to call it, vest. I don't know. That much like with the Joker's tails, this is what normally would be kind of a rubbery piece, so it wouldn't hinder his articulation too much. It seems like it's actually really rigid and stiff, and that's about as far up as his leg wants to go. Doesn't seem to have a boot cut. Had his little pixie boots. You can see the ratchets on the knee joint there. So that's about as far as his knee goes back. And of course, the knee rotates around just like the elbow and just like the knee joint on the other figures. Head looks up about that far, so not very far up. Head looks down about that far, so not very far down. Can't really get much of a side tilt out of it, and the head doesn't rotate all the way around. I almost kind of figure like the heads on these aren't really meant to go up and down and side to side. It's just supposed to, swivel back and forth. And any kind of like up and down or side to side we get is kind of a happy accident. He's got the same sort of really chintzy material for the cape. I wish they'd had a better material for these capes, but I guess they wanted to have kind of the sheen to it like it had on the TV show, where it was, like I said, that kind of satiny sort of material. And he's also got the eyes painted in plain white, but I don't think it works quite as well with Batman just because of the way it's sculpted. So, but other than that, it's an excellent likeness of Burt Ward. He's got the same Robin emblem tampographed onto the chest that looks just like how it did on the television series. And so Robin's pretty cool. I'm glad to finally have a Robin to go with this line. Now, I am going to try to get the basic, the regular single-carded Robin as well. But I think this is a really cool Robin to have, as its own figure. I don't know if they're planning on reissuing that first Joker, and I would certainly like it if they did. They've done variants of Joker, like Surfing Joker, and, they did the Joker in his Joker Man outfit from the comic book. But even if they don't, I think I'll be fine with this being just my standard 1966 Joker. So he's got a little bit more of a purple outfit. Big deal. Last but not least, I believe the Penguin is the villain that had the most appearances of any of the villains on the Batman television series. And he's got like it looks like on first glance a black outfit, but I think it's actually like a rather dark bluish gray, maybe a little bit on the greenish side. It's not like a true black, and that's interesting. And his hat isn't a true black either. It's more of a very, very dark gray. Now, of course, Penguin on the television show had a purple hat and a purple tie, but again, they're going with the color scheme based on the Topps trading cards, and you can see here the Penguin had a red tie and a black hat. So they obviously wanted him to look like that version. Now, that having been said, I think that just because of that, this is probably the most accurate to the actual trading cards of any of these figures. While they're allegedly supposed to look like what they look like on the trading cards, like this really just more looks like he's a Joker that's colored in the standard comic book colors. Like if they wanted to do a really accurate Joker on the show at the time, it probably would have been about this shade of purple, and they probably would have put like just like a a lot more black into the wig and made it like a darker green or something like this. I think this turned out really well. It's, like I said, a slightly more accurate version of the Joker than what we got on the TV show, but it still looks like the Joker from the TV show, so that's fine. And same with the Penguin. It's not the exact colors, but it's pretty obviously recognizably a Burgess Meredith Penguin. I am disappointed that he didn't come with an umbrella. Supposedly, there's an umbrella in the Villains playset, the Villains Lair playset, but I shouldn't have to buy a whole nother playset to get like the definitive accessory that's supposed to come with the Penguin. And I know there's like the weird no guns rule that DC has imposed on Mcfarlane toys, but that shouldn't apply to the Penguin's umbrella. It shouldn't apply to Mr. Freeze's freeze gun. These are characters that should have had their iconic weapons. I'll talk more about Mr. Freeze's freeze gun, or lack thereof, when we get to Mr. Freeze. So overall, I'm really happy with this set. I'd seen one review where the guy was talking about it, and he said it was overpriced. I disagree vehemently, because it's like, for the price that I paid for this, it was like $15 per figure, which is cheaper than these figures usually are. Usually they're like $18. And then I got a free lunchbox to keep them with. Oh, check this out. This is really good. I don't know if you can see it even on the show, on the camera, because the light kind of washes out. But he does have a texture over his shirt/vest of that sort of velvety, it's supposed to like Penguin down. So he had kind of a velvety shirt/vest combination. It's all one piece. And it looks good. I'm glad they put that texture on there. Excuse me. It was something that bothered me about the Mattel version, was it was just really flat and smooth. And this one, they put the effort into putting the texture on there. So, and you can see that he does stand a little bit shorter than the Joker. So even like the top of his hat matches up about with the Joker's eye line. So they got some good scale there. So I'm looking forward to opening the rest of these. I'm probably going to try to get to the rest of these in the coming week. And probably going to do the 2 Catwoman figures just on one show, because I've just got so much stuff to open. So this might just be like everything that I do in the upcoming week. And if you want to make sure that you catch those episodes, make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these figures. I'm happy to have them as part of my collection. I'd recommend, if you can find them for still find them for a good price, and they are still available for a good price out there. If you know where to look. Like I said, I found this one on Walmart.com, and it was still like the price that it was originally retailing for. So that was a steal as far as I was concerned. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. We will talk to you next time. Goodbye.